Welcome back to the Random Dad YouTube channel. We're coming to you live from inside the vanity of the Random Kids bathroom vanity. I took this week off. It is Thanksgiving week, and I'm catching up on all the work orders that have been stacking up around the house for the last many weeks. So today, we're fixing a leaky and squeaky faucet in the Random Kids bathroom. We're just going to pop a couple of water supply lines off here. There's a big kind of whatever fastener that is used to hold the faucet on and hook the new one up, and we'll be good to go here. So the only major issue that you may run into are the actual shutoff valves. We live in an old house here at Random Dad headquarters, and I'll show you up close here. So these older style, they're called gate valves, can be a little bit finicky. First thing I'm going to do here is shut these valves off and then disconnect these supply lines and make sure that the valves are holding the water back, because if they're not, we're in big trouble and I'll have to replace these with some new style ball valves. Cross your fingers and we'll see what happens here. Okay, here's a hot tip. Find yourself like a Tupperware lid or something to slide underneath this whole area, because you're gonna get some drips of water out of these valves, whether they hold water back or not. This will just protect the bottom of the cabinet and make your cleanup easier. Got a little bit of water. So any of the water that's in the line is gonna come out. And I'm just gonna open the top valve so water or air can get in. But as of right here, these drips don't tell me that the actual shutoff valve's not holding. All right, so that's encouraging. The water is stopping. So again, this stainless braided line here is just draining all the water down out of it because we broke this connection. I don't want to jinx it, but I think that gate valve's holding water back. Awesome. So this is where the water would be coming out if this gate valve wasn't holding it back. So that's awesome. We'll switch over here and do the other side. Try to move you over. All right, so those are our two water connections that we had to break to replace this faucet. The other connection is this little arm pulls the drain stopper up and down. So I'm just gonna slide that off. That's supposed to have a little clip on it. I'm actually surprised that it didn't. And then I'm gonna take this little piece of linkage here. So you can see this is the hard arm that comes up and down off the faucet, and then this little piece of linkage here just is held in with this little set screw. I'm just gonna pop this linkage piece off so it's easier for me to get the whole thing off. Okay, now we have to actually remove the mechanical fastener that holds this faucet on, which is up here. See that little wing nut looking thing? That's probably gonna fight me getting off of here, but let me see if I can get the camera set up so you can watch me fight with it for a minute. All right, let me see here. If we're super lucky, it's just kind of hand tight. Ooh, shocker. Now, I'm sure the random plumber has some sweet tool to do this, but I don't have one, so I'm trying to improvise here. It moved, that's a good sign. Hopefully now that we broke it free, we can just turn it by hand. Oh yes. So this is an interesting phenomenon. the whole threaded rod is turning. I don't know if you could see that, but this piece is turning as well as this nut, so I'm not actually backing the nut off. So I'm gonna go grab some vice grips and try to hold this while I turn this. This is gonna get a little interesting. All right, I got some vice grips here. One thing to note is when you're working on anything and this situation comes up, not like if you're trying to back something off that's frozen. If I had to drop this nut all the way off of here, I wouldn't want to grab these threads with my vice grips because it would wreck these threads and then this nut would get stuck down here and I'd be in trouble. But I can't really, I don't know if you can see it, but hopefully when I get this free, I'll show you. This particular nut is going, once I get it loose, is gonna close in on itself and be able to go up through this small hole. So I'm not gonna have to pull it all the way off of here. One trick that I know of, if I needed to grab this threaded rod without damaging the threads, would be to put two nuts on the end here and kind of lock them together. And then I could use a wrench on the top nut to hold the threaded rod. But like I said, I don't have to do that here because I'm not going to use the threads way down on the end. So I'm just going to snap my vice grips on here. Nice and tight. And then let the vice grips bang into the wall here, and that will hold them. And then I'm going to do my same little double adjustable wrench trick here to try to loosen this. This is one of those things that, you know, is not really part of this job, but can kind of get you in trouble if you don't know how to deal with it. Oh boy, that actually worked a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a fight. So you probably can't see on the camera, but now the threaded piece is staying stationary, and I'm able to back this funny wing nut thing off, and it's actually loosening the whole. See, you can see the whole assembly now is loose on the sink top. So I've got to get this down far enough so I can fold the kind of wings of the nut in and push the whole thing out the top hole. Pop my vice grips off. So you saw I just folded this nut up, and now this should slide right out the top. I got this new Delta faucet from Lowe's. Lowe's longtime sponsor of the show. It's very basic chrome replacement faucet. I didn't want to chuck the long coin because I want to redo this bathroom at some point. Comes with a new tailpiece. Tailpiece is what it's called. I'm not going to use that. This is the arm that pulls the drain up and down. We will use that. Instructions, packaging, and here is the actual faucet. As you can see, like almost the same as what we took out. I do like the mechanical fasteners on this better. You got these brass threaded pieces. This is just like a little gasket plate. But then these little guys, I really like these better. They're just like big plastic nuts that go on here and kind of snug up against the bottom of the sink. I don't know if you saw, but we had some corrosion on the last one. Like brass and plastic don't corrode, so you kind of eliminate that whole situation. I wonder what this funny plastic thing is. Remember when I like real coolly threw these instructions like I wasn't going to need them because I knew everything? Wrong. Okay, so yep, that's pretty normal. Yep, supply lines, sure. And no big deal there. Oh, this little key thing is for the screen. Look at that. It's a little screen. So you're like cousin who wants to rob the screens out of your faucets can't get them. Cool. So I need to gonna have to save that. All right. So I'm gonna prep this with the supply lines off of the old faucet, which I don't think I have because the old faucet looks like they're built in, and I didn't buy new supply lines like a dummy. Okay, so back to the hardware store. We'll be back. So we're gonna go to a commercial break now. I don't think I do commercials yet, but be back soon. Okay, look. You probably don't want to reuse supply lines anyway. That was probably the universe sending me a message.
Hey dummy, don't do that.
When the universe sends you a message, you gotta listen. So, shout out, another long-time sponsor. Ace is the place. Got a couple new supply lines here. This is a Richard Fathui hot tip, or probably any plumber. Random plumber would definitely tell you about this. Make up as many connections as you can out here before you install this thing. You saw how hard it was for me to work under there. The trick's not gonna work today. I gotta get these guys on after, and they won't go on. Okay, so we're hooking this whole thing up underneath the sink. If you can install these before, go ahead and do that. All right, so we're just gonna thread these little mounting nuts on here. All right, so we're nice and square with the backsplash, and we're centered on the actual like drain. So I'm tightening these down, just hand tight. Let's get our supply lines hooked up. So I like to buy my supply lines long, and then I just put a loop in them. I just feel like it gives you a little bit more wiggle room. Again, I'm just snugging these up with my adjustable wrench. Too lazy to know exactly what size these are. Adjustables, in my opinion, in my experience, in a application like this, are totally fine, as long as you're like paying attention to them, making sure they're not loosening up on you, which they do the whole time. See, I gotta tighten this guy up a little bit. Okay, so these just need to snug up there. Okay, now we're moving back down here to the shut-off valve area. And so, like I said, I like to just put a little loop in my supply line. That allows me to kind of custom fit the length. Get those threads lined up. Do not want to cross thread at this point. Snug it up with our adjustable. Like everything, no need to over tighten this thing. There's a little rubber gasket. It's a compression fitting with a little rubber gasket in there, so you don't want to crush anything. Plus, as you can see, like this, you got this lever action here. This thing is not in the wall very well, And so I don't want to like tweak on this too much and pop a joint inside the wall. So that's the like loop that I was talking about. That way you don't have to mess with having the perfect size line. Now, we've got our water lines connected, we've got our faucets connected. The last thing we need to do is hook up this stopper mechanism. So that is this little guy. We have our new mechanism here. It's just gonna slides down in there. And now we have to make that connection back up with the linkage piece. Do you see it? This guy right here has to hook to this. And I'm gonna have to bend it to make it work here. Even this piece, I'm probably gonna have to bend a little. Sometimes you have to custom make these things depending on your application. So the way these work is first you drop them on the ground. You always want to drop it on the ground first. It just like, see, it's like seasoning cast iron pan or something. All right, and then you slide your linkage on, and then you slide the other side of this clippy on. There we go. Now, I'm gonna push my custom made linkage piece up and let it fall back down. So we're down on the bottom, right? You wanna make sure that you're at the bottom of both kind of strokes. And then tighten this back up. My little clip here. I'm gonna go up and check it. You tell me if it works. Close, open, close, open, close, open. Okay, so all of our connections have been made. Now is like the real moment of truth. So we are gonna turn the water back on and make sure we have no leaks. So we'll do this side first. You were gonna want to watch right in here. I don't see any leakage happening. So that's a score. Move over to the other side. Again, we're looking like right in here. Make sure that there's no water. I mean, it's a little wet from when we were disconnecting, but if you had a rag, if you were a real plumber, you'd probably dry everything off. You should just crack it a little first. Pray that your old 40-year-old gate valve is gonna hold. Okay, we got water pressure. No leaks. Up here, look at that thing, nice and square. Cold side. Some gross stuff came out, but hot side. Stopper. So pull up on the stopper, good, open, drain. Look at that. Come back down here, we'll just double check for leaks. I don't see any leak action there. I don't see any leak action there. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing this whole thing with just a headlamp. Nice and dry there. Nice and dry there. Okay, folks, there you have it. Random Dad, quick Thanksgiving Eve plumbing project. Random Kids bathroom is back fully functional, ready for a bunch of family to use it over the next couple days. I just shot the random plumber a text to ask him how much he typically charges for a job like this. And I'll put that in here, like along the bottom when he finally responds to me. Hopefully it will be enough money that it makes sense for me to keep doing stuff like this. As you saw, all we really needed was a couple adjustable wrenches and a pair of vice grips to do this job. So don't be afraid to tackle something like this on your own. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching The Random Dad.